grand jurors in the box.
You may be seated. All right, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, we had to handle some matters. Those are taken care of, and we are now ready to proceed with the plaintiff's case. Call your next witness.
Abigail Zwerner, Your Honor.
Do you swear that the testimony that you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, over there?
Yes. Thank you, Your Honor. And Abby, can you tell the jury your name, please?
My name is Abigail Zwerner.
And Abby, how are you feeling right now?
I think nervous is a big one. Nervous, anxious, a lot.
And Abby, the jury's already heard a little bit about yourself from your mother and your sister. So just tell the jury, how long were you a teacher?
About 2.5 years.
And where did you teach at during that 2.5-year period?
Rich Neck Elementary.
Tell the jury what grades you taught.
I came into 4th grade my first year of teaching. That was when we had the virtual hybrid year. And then the following 2 years, I taught 1st grade, all at Rich Neck.
And how did you enjoy teaching?
I liked it. I do remember it was stressful a lot of times. Being a new teacher, a lot of new experiences, a lot of ups and downs I remember. Yeah.
And now, Abby, I'm just going to ask you a few questions about January 6, 2023, okay?
Okay.
So tell the jury, when on that day did you first hear about JT might have a gun?
It was before recess.
And do you remember who told you that?
Amy Kovac.
And when Amy Kovac told you that, why did you not go to Dr. Parker?
I knew that she was going to tell Dr. Parker.
Did Amy tell you she was going to tell Dr. Parker?
Yes, she told me that she was going to tell Dr. Parker.
And did Amy tell you that 2 girls had advised her of the fact that JT might have a firearm?
Yes.
Do you know who the 2 girls were?
I did not.
So she didn't even tell you which kids in the class had told her that?
She did not tell me.
And no other kids told you?
No.
Okay. So you heard it from Amy, and Amy said she was going to tell Dr. Parker at that time?
Yes.
Were you told to keep an eye on JT by Amy?
Yes.
And is that why you were texting and communicating with Amy during recess?
Yes.
And is that why you texted Amy about what you observed JT doing before recess?
Yes, because I knew that once Amy had informed me of the information that the students had told her, I knew that Amy was going to then relay the information to Dr. Parker.
And again, no one else had told you anything about a gun besides Amy?
Correct.
And, Your Honor, I would like to publish and pull back up.
Which is that?
That is the picture yesterday of Abby, Memorial shirt. Oh, 90C? Is it 90C? I'm being corrected that it's Plaintiff's Exhibit 90C, Judge.
Okay. Any objection to that?
No objection to that.
Right. It's already been admitted, correct?
Yes, it's already been
All right,
admitted,
got
Your
it.
Honor.
Yep.
And Abby, do you recognize that photo? It's on the screen in front of you.
Yes.
And what year is that from? Do you know?
I have slightly orange hair. Looks like it's washed out, so it would have been the 2022-2023 school year.
Okay, so So you're in your first grade classroom, room 11?
Yes.
And if we can zoom in on the orange sheets that are behind your head, do you see those?
Yes, I do.
Can you tell the jury what is that?
That would be our handbook, our school's handbook. I believe it was titled the Crisis Management Plan. I may be wrong on the title of it, but it was the tier 1, tier 2, tier 3.
So that's a handbook that you would reference?
Yes.
And why would you reference that sheet?
For the behaviors, it was like a left and right side.
And why would you look at that, the left and right side?
The like possible displayed behaviors on the left, and then on the right side, actions to take as a teacher.
And Reed, if we can only display to council, please, Exhibit 108, and it would be date stamp 9074 and 9075. Thank you. And Abby, do you see two documents in front of you?
Yes.
Do you recognize those two documents?
Yes.
And what are those two documents in front of you?
The on the left and the right side, it looks like the three. I don't know how to explain it. It's like the combined on the one sheet of paper that I had on the orange sheet of paper, like the level 1 behaviors, and then on the right side of the screen, level 2, and then level 3 behaviors. I had that all on one sheet of paper, the orange paper on the wall.
So the exhibit that we just showed to the jury, the box that you had of the 3 tiers, is from this document?
Yes.
Your Honor, at this time, I would move to submit this document as Plaintiff's 108, and we would mark it as 108.
All right, any objection?
Object, Your Honor. This witness can't authenticate. This is a handbook from Rich Neck Elementary. She's not an employee. She can't authenticate the document.
Well, she's identified it. That's overruled.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, so admitted.
Thank you.
Plaintiff's 108.
May I have permission to publish it to the jury, please?
You may.
Thank you. And Abby, we're now sharing this with the jury, so can you tell them again where this section 3 came from?
The Rich Neck Elementary School handbook.
And the chart that the jury is seeing on those 2 pages, is that what was combined into one chart in the photo that we had just previously showed the jury?
Yes.
And can we publish to the jury Exhibit 90C? Is it 90C? Thank you. And if we can zoom in, that orange piece of paper behind your head is what has the chart on it with the tier 1, tier 2, and tier 3 behavior.
Yes.
And then if we can zoom in on the level 3 behaviors on the second part of the screen, please read. And do you see what's on the screen at this time?
Yes. At the top it says level 3 behaviors immediately reported to the school security and or an administrator.
And in the student behaviors, is there a possession of a weapon listed?
Possession of a weapon.
And then next steps, that's for the administrator to do, correct? That was your understanding?
Next steps.
And if we, on this date, Amy Kovac went and reported it to Dr. Parker, correct?
Yes.
Thank you. And we can take that down from the screen now. Thank you, Reed. So, Abby, now tell the jury, what did you see right before you were shot that day on January 6, 2023?
The moment went by very fast. I remember Dr. Watson touched on it briefly earlier. The look on the student's face is a large memory that I have. I do remember it was like a very blank look, but it wasn't a blank look at all on his face.
And is that why you lifted your hand? Did you know what was about to happen?
Yes. Yep.
And what is the last thing you remember that day at the school?
The last thing I remember at the school. Obvious, I thought I was dying. I thought I had died. I thought I was either on my way to heaven or in heaven, but then it all got black, and so I then thought I wasn't going there. And then my next memory is I see two coworkers around me, and I process that I'm hurt, and they're putting pressure on where I'm hurt.
And Abby, can you describe for the jury a little bit about how you're still feeling physically and emotionally? And I know that's a big question.
Physically,
Can you describe how it is with your left hand still? The things you can and can't do, even to this day? So Abby, can you tell the jury when we have lunch together, are you able to open your potato chips, or do I open your potato chips for you?
I asked you, we catered sandwiches in a box, and a small bag of chips and cookies were catered, and I was trying to open the bag of chips on my own multiple times, different ways, trying to hold it different ways, and I eventually asked you to open it. It's the same thing with water bottles. Overall, I would say I do struggle with doing things.
And for example, we heard from your sister yesterday, and she described a change in your relationship with not only her, but friends. Are you able to explain a little bit to the jury about how you feel maybe those relationships have been changed?
The best I can explain it, it's like I still feel connected and close, but it's also that feeling of distance, a little numbness, and it's like I know I trust the person I'm with. You know, I love them, I know them, but there's something that's just different. I can't necessarily put it into words.
And what about, we heard from your mother about the movie Hamilton. You were planning to go to it that day. What happened that changed your mind when you had already purchased the tickets and made those plans?
It was a Saturday. I remember waking up. I woke up and I remembered that there was a scene where two characters had dueled with firearms, and when we had started making the plans to see the movie, when the Saturday was coming up to see the movie, it just never flew through my mind. I had seen Hamilton before, but for some reason when I woke up that day to go see the movie, it just flew right into my head, and just an overwhelming sense of, I felt like everything just came over my body. And I remember I called my mom. I don't remember if I was crying on the phone to her. I don't remember if it was afterwards, but I remember crying a lot. And I remember that afterwards, they were asking me what else would I want to do instead that day. So, okay, we can't go to the movies. What do you want to do instead? Where else would you want to go instead? And I remember telling them nowhere. Like, I can't go anywhere. I just want to stay home. I'm not going anywhere today. I can't. And I remember that it was my mom and my sister, so it wasn't just my mom and I planning to go. It was my mom, my sister, and I, all three of us planning to go. And then they proposed to come over to my place, and even that still, I didn't want. No, just leave me alone. I don't want to go anywhere. I don't want to see anyone. I don't want to. No. To my mom and my sister.
Well, Abby, I know this has been difficult for you, so that's all the questions I have. I appreciate it, okay? Thank you. But stay there. There may be other questions.
Thank you. All right, cross-examination.
My calls may take a little bit of time. I don't know if you want to go try to get through before lunch.
I'm sorry?
My calls might take a little bit of time. Let's get it started.
Yep.
Ms. Zwerner, I have a few questions so that we can make sure the jury understands the whole picture. You've been working as a teacher for a few years at the time of the incident, is that correct?
Yes.
And you had a number of children in your class with some academic issues?
Yes.
You had some children in your class with behavioral issues, is that correct?
I faintly remember.
And when you were dealing with student misbehavior, you would start by talking with the student, is that correct?
Most likely, yes.
And if you needed help, you would ask for guidance or coworkers or administrators to help, is that correct?
Yes.
You would go to Dr. Parker at times, correct?
At times.
You would email her, true?
Yes.
You'd walk in her office.
Yes.
And if necessary, we'd get the guidance counselor to take the student to Dr. Parker's office.
At times.
And Ms. West was another first grade teacher. She was across the hall from you, correct?
She was.
Lead first grade teacher. Sometimes go over there if you needed to speak with her. You had a phone in your room?
Yes.
And you could call a parent on the phone in your room?
I don't think I've called a parent during the day.
But you could if you needed to.
Yes. Yes, I had a classroom phone.
And you could call the office.
Yes.
Mr. Coleman, can you please show to the witness and counsel Exhibit 90A? Yes, sorry, Defense 90A.
That is plaintiff's 90A, is that correct?
Yes.
All right.
No. She said defense 98 to me and then plaintiff to you, so I just want the record to be clear.
Oh, Defense 90A.
All right. Is that in evidence?
Not yet.
Okay.
Ms. Werner, I'll give you a minute to look at this document.
Are these from me or someone's messages to me?
Is your phone number 804-424 or 80?
So they're from me.
That's a text from you.
Okay. Yes.
Have you had a chance to look at the?
Yes, I
Yes,
read
page.
them.
Is that a text you sent on October 15, 2021?
If that's what it's dated, yes.
And you sent it to Rosalie List?
Yes.
And Miss List taught with you at Rich Neck, correct?
Yes.
Was she another first grade teacher?
Yes.
Your Honor, I'd move to admit Defense Exhibit 90A and publish to the jury.
Any objection?
Your Honor, I would just object. I don't see how it's relevant. This is from October 2021. It's not regarding JT or the year that this happened or the date of the offense.
Yeah, how is this relevant?
It's relevant. If the court will let me explore with her, we can sidebar and I can tell you, but I don't want to obviously do that before I question her about it.
I need you to state why you believe it's relevant.
The text is a text about evacuating the classroom when she felt that she was in danger, that she had done that before.
That's quite what it says, but you can read it, Your Honor.
I think the bottom one is relevant to that, but the top one isn't. So, I mean, I'll overrule the objection as to the bottom one if we redact the phone numbers and then redact the top text.
In your Honor, just pending whatever ruling remains, can we ensure that this remains published only to the witness because it does have private phone numbers that I don't think needs to be
Correct. So if we could just post that as it's highlighted there, I'm okay with that.
Yeah, I was not aware of any pre-court ruling about redacting text messages
Well, phone numbers.
or phone numbers.
Yeah, phone numbers from
Okay.
the text need to be, yeah.
We can redact it before it's submitted.
Okay.
Am I allowed to publish it to the jury before?
Yes. It goes up exactly like that. Okay.
Ms. Werner, do you recall an incident the year prior with a student named Q?
I don't.
Do you recall you had a student in your class named Q who you felt in danger of and you had to evacuate your classroom?
I don't. I remember a student with the name Q, but I don't remember any of this.
So if you've looked at a text message where you talk about evacuating the classroom because of student Q and feeling in danger the year prior, you would disagree with that?
Yes, but I also know I've never have officially, technically done an evacuation procedure. I don't know what that... I've never performed a school classroom evacuation.
So Ms. Werner, if you see on the text,
Mm-hmm.
had to evacuate my room early for lunch.
Yes.
And that was because of Q, wasn't it?
Yes, I read that.
And you recall, does that refresh your recollection?
I don't recall what happened.
Mr. Coleman, can you publish to the witness and counsel Defense Exhibit 91D? Have you had a chance to review?
Mm?
Is that also a text message from your phone that you sent?
Yes.
And you sent it on December 15, 2022 at 5:22 p.m.?
Mm?
And that
Yes.
was a few weeks before the events that bring us here today. Is that correct?
Yes.
And you sent it to Jen West, Anissa Miller, and Kristen Ayers, correct?
Yes.
And they were other first grade teachers.
Yes, they were.
And in this text, you told them that you were sorry for crying.
Your Honor, I'm objecting at this point. There was pretrial rulings about fire acts pursuant to Rule 404, Your Honor. This isn't relevant as well. If you can look at the text that's on the screen before Your Honor, we would be objecting.
All
All
right,
those
so
bases.
there are two separate texts, so let's just start with the top one. All right, how is that relevant?
It's relevant to credibility of the witness in terms of statements about, the jury's heard evidence that Dr. Parker didn't look at her, so this is probative of that evidence that's in court from this plaintiff's own mouth.
From December 15th of 2022?
A couple weeks before the shooting.
No, I'm gonna sustain that objection. All right, and then you have a separate argument on the bottom one, or is it, I'm sorry, let's start with the objection first. Is that to relevance as well? Or have you even gotten to that second one?
I had not gotten
Okay.
to the section.
Okay, so on the top one, I'm gonna sustain the objection. All right, are you gonna go to the bottom one, or did you just want the top one?
I want the bottom one.
Okay, all right, let me see that. Same objection,
Yes, Your Honor.
and is it the same date? I couldn't see the date.
It's the same date, Your Honor.
All right, thank you.
Again, that's about a completely separate incident.
Your Honor, the jury's heard testimony from Ms. Kovac and others about Dr. Parker not looking at her on January 6th, and Ms. Kovac made comments about Dr. Parker not doing certain things. This is a text message from Ms. Zwerner discussing feedback from Dr.
I
Parker.
object to all of the text message.
It's directly relevant.
To what?
Credibility of the witness. It's probative of actions taken on the day of, which they've been able to place in evidence.
No, I'm gonna sustain the objection. It's not relevant. It's on December the 15th.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right.
Ms. Werner, there was an incident with your cell phone on January 4, 2023, correct?
Yes.
And it involved the student JT, correct?
Yes.
And he threw your phone in the classroom,
He slammed my phone to the ground.
and it broke the screen protector.
Yes.
And when he did that, you took him by the hand, correct?
Yes.
And you removed him from the classroom.
Yes, I brought him to Miss West's classroom across the hall.
And you asked her to call guidance, correct?
Call for yes.
And Mr. Rawls came.
I asked her to call for help on her walkie-talkie, and Mr. Rawls and Miss Palladini came.
So Ms. West could call for help on the walkie-talkie.
Yes, she had a walkie-talkie. I did not.
Okay. And Mr. Ross came,
Yes.
and he removed JT from the classroom.
Yes.
And he was suspended for 1 day for that, correct?
Yes.
And he returned to school on January 6th.
Yes.
His mother brought him into class,
Yes.
and she apologized for what JT did.
Yes, he did as well.
He did as well,
Yes.
and he offered to pay for the screen protector.
Yes. Casual conversation.
You did not notice anything off about JT when he first arrived at school on January 6th.
I did not.
Now, your class went to lunch around 11:15 to 11:45, is that correct?
Yes.
And we've heard about an incident with JT in the lunchroom, and you personally went to Dr. Parker about this incident, correct?
Yes.
And to be clear, when you went to Dr. Parker about this incident, you did not report to her anything about JT having a weapon.
No.
So you went back to your classroom after you left Dr. Parker's office?
From my memory of that day, yes, but throughout this week I have learned some things.
Do you recall going back to your classroom at some point before recess?
Yes.
Ms. Kovac was in your classroom,
Yes.
and you learned from Ms. Kovac that 2 of your students said JT had a gun in his backpack.
I don't remember if Miss Kovac told me who. She did not tell me which students. But yes, Miss Kovac did tell me that students told her that the student brought a gun with him to school.
Did you ask Ms. Kovac who the 2 students were who had reported this?
I don't remember if I did or not.
Did you take measures to speak with the 2 students who had reported this?
No, I knew that Miss Kovac spoke to them.
And they were students in your class,
Yes.
and you didn't feel the need to speak to them yourself.
I knew Miss Kovac had spoken to them, and I trusted Mrs. Kovac.
But you don't know what Ms. Kovac said to those students, do you? Or if she said anything to the students?
I trusted Miss Kovac. She has 20, 30 years of teaching experience over my 2.5 years.
So Ms. Kovac stayed in your room for a while, didn't she?
Yes.
About 30 minutes.
Yes.
And she spoke to JT about what the students said, right?
I don't recall specifically.
You were in the classroom when this happened,
I was.
and Ms. Kovac was loudly talking to JT.
I could not hear what she was saying.
Did you, knowing that you'd gotten this information that your student might have a gun, did you go speak with him?
I did not. Miss Kovac was with him.
Ms. Kovac was in your classroom? So you had coverage in your classroom? Because Ms. Kovac was in there, and she had 20 to 30 years of experience, right?
Was that a question?
It was a question.
Could you repeat that, please?
Ms. Kovac was in your room when you found out that JT might have a weapon. You had coverage in your classroom. Did you go back to Dr. Parker and say, oh, there's been a change. Now there's a report that he might have a weapon?
At that time, no. Miss Kovac was in my room investigating the situation. She was observing the student, sitting next to the student, and at that time, I'm trusting Miss Kovac.
Did you remove JT from your classroom as you had done 2 days prior when you took him by the hand and took him out?
No.
Did you remove his backpack from the classroom?
No.
Did you search his backpack?
No.
Did you go back to the security officer in the lunchroom
No.
who had left a little bit after this time? Is that right, about 12 o'clock?
I don't know.
Instead, you proceeded to teach a lesson before recess. Is that right? And Ms. Kovac team taught that lesson with you.
I don't remember.
So Ms. Kovac has stated that she taught a lesson on Pocahontas with you. You don't remember that?
No.
And eventually Ms. Kovac left the room, correct?
Yes.
And did you say, don't leave, please stay?
She left to tell Dr. Parker that there was a potential of a gun on the student.
But you don't know what she said to Dr. Parker, do you, Ms. Werner?
I knew that she left to tell Dr. Parker what the students had told her.
But you don't know what Ms. Kovac told Dr. Parker.
Her specific words, no ma'am, I was not there
You were
with
not
her.
party to that conversation.
Correct, I was not.
And when she left, did you ask her to stay or to remove him from the room? Or to remove his backpack from the room?
No.
Now, we've heard that you saw JT go to his backpack at some time before recess. And did you go personally convey this information to Dr. Parker?
I texted Ms. Kovac.
My question is different. Did you seek measures, did you yourself convey this information to Dr. Parker?
No.
So you took your class to the playground, correct?
Yes.
And you were out on the playground with 2 other first grade classes and teachers,
Yes.
Jen West and Kristen Ayers.
Yes.
Ms. West, she's the one with the walkie, right?
Yes.
When you got out there, did you tell Ms. West, get on the walkie, we've got a student who might have a weapon?
I don't remember.
You don't remember?
No ma'am.
So you shared with Ms. West and Ms. Ayers what you had learned about JT, correct?
Yes.
And you observed him on the playground.
Yes.
And Ms. Kovac came out on the playground at some point, correct?
I don't remember that. I
Don't remember? And you had left the playground before while the other teachers were out there. We talked about that in your deposition. So did you leave the playground to go back in the building to personally provide information to Dr. Parker?
no.
Did you question JT about anything that you had heard?
No.
And at some point, Miss West left the playground.
Yes, right before we went inside.
And why did she leave the playground?
To my understanding, something with one of her students.
And did she ask you to shepherd her class and your class into the building?
Yes.
And how many students would that be?
Around 40, maybe.
Because Miss West needed to go deal with another student discipline issue.
Yes.
Did you say to Miss West, hey, I can't take your class in. I've got my own problems here. I've got an issue with a student who might have a weapon.
No, because at that time I knew that Amy had told administration, Dr. Parker. I honestly didn't think twice. It was my understanding that administration wouldn't think twice as well
Miss Warner.
when alerted about a potential gun in school.
But you could have taken measures yourself at that time, correct?
Yes.
And you don't know what Amy Kovac said to Dr. Parker, do you?
Exact words, I don't.
So you shepherded 40-some students in the building.
Yes.
JT was in the midst of those students, correct?
Yes.
You had the children line up on the wall out of your classrooms?
Yes.
And you went into the class
Yes.
and you did small reading group.
Yes.
You still hadn't removed JT from the classroom,
No.
and you recall that his backpack was next to his chair.
Yes.
Ms. Werner, at some point on January 6th, did a student named R tell you that JT had a gun?
No.
Do you don't recall saying, save it for later, or sit down to that student?
No.
That didn't happen?
No.
And the first time you saw JT with a gun, he was at his desk, is that correct? The
Yes.
first time you saw a gun that day.
Yes.
And when you saw that, you were shocked,
Yes.
because you didn't expect to see it, did you?
It was a real gun. Yes.
Is there a point where you didn't think he might have a real gun?
Well, the whole day I was contemplating it could be real, but it also could not. When you hear the word, he told students he brought a gun with him to school. There is that possibility.
Ms. Werner, you were asked about the staff handbook. Can you pull up, it's, what exhibit is this? Is it
108.
108? 108? Zwerner 9074. Mr. Coleman, the top paragraph. Mrs. Werner, do you see the third paragraph? Can we publish to the jury? I think it's in evidence.
This is just the cover. That's all we can see.
Yeah, 108. Here's page 7, I think.
I can see it. Yes.
Your Honor, may we publish it to the jury since it's already in evidence?
But this is your version, right? Your copy of it, or
No,
it is the plaintiff's?
it's
Okay,
the
very well.
plaintiff's, Your Honor.
Yes.
Ms. Werner, looking at the third paragraph, it says discipline is the initial responsibility of the teacher. Is that correct?
Yes.
You agree with that?
It says that.
And let's look at the next page. The boxed behaviors. You spoke about that with the jury a while ago. And Ms. Werner, student behaviors on the left is possession of a weapon. Do you see that?
Yes.
And the next steps are secure students and ensure safety. Did you do that when you got a report that JT might have a weapon?
I did not.
And the next step is 2, immediate notice to administrator. Did you yourself notify an administrator?
Amy Kovac did.
I'm asking.
I did not myself.
Did not yourself. Mr. Werner, the jury's heard a fair amount about your physical damages from your treating doctors the last couple of days. You eventually resigned from the Newport News Public Schools, is that correct? And you worked for a few months at a gym, Burn Boot Camp, is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
And you and your sister Hannah also worked out there pretty frequently, is that right?
Beforehand, yes.
Before
January 6th.
you would disagree you were still working out at Burn Boot Camp after?
Oh, I did go work out afterwards when I had started working there at the front desk in the fall of 2023. My doctor had cleared me to do light work, light exercises. So I tried my best to work out the best that I could with the weights. Best I could.
And the jury has heard testimony about your emotional damages, correct? We heard from Dr. Watson today.
Yes.
You started seeing your therapist at Abundant Life regarding emotional problems back in March 2021. Is that correct?
That sounds right.
And that was about a year and a half prior to January 6th.
Yes.
And you've been taking an antidepressant daily since 2021.
Yes.
And you told your therapist that you've been diagnosed with depression and anxiety for a number of years. Is that correct?
Yes.
You've been treated for generalized anxiety disorder
Yes.
and a major depressive disorder.
Yes.
And Ms. Zwerner, you felt a lot of stress and burnout from being a teacher. Is that right?
Yes.
And you had also tragically lost your father in June of 2020.
Yes.
And you had worked with Ms. Gonsalves on recovering from PTSD symptoms related to that event, because that's an event you witnessed. Is that correct?
Yes.
Mr. Coleman, can you show the witness-only defense exhibit 109 at 83?
And Your Honor, I do have an objection about this text
Let me read
message.
it,
After you
okay?
read it. Yes,
All right,
sir.
I know you all have.
I've read it.
Hold on 1 second. All right, objection is, state your objection for the record, please.
Your Honor, her introduction of this text message is irrelevant.
Relevance is the objection. Your response?
Clearly, it's relevant, Your Honor. She said multiple witnesses parade in here and say that she has social anxiety and cannot even leave her home. This was produced by Ms. Zwerner. It's actually an Instagram post, and it's directly relevant to her ability to function in the community following this incident, which she's placed at issue here.
All right, I'm going to overrule the objection. We can also issue a limiting instruction if necessary that it only goes towards the testimony to contradict the symptoms.
Yes, Your Honor, thank you.
All right.
Ms. Zwerner, is this an Instagram post you made on September 13, 2023?
It's a private message I sent to Taylor Swift.
Move to admit it into evidence and publish to the jury.
Over plaintiff's objections noted.
Would you like me to read it out loud?
Is it posted on that? I can't see that.
It's posted.
Oh, okay.
They'll read it.
We'll let the jury. Have you had a chance to read it, Ms. Werner?
Yes.
Ms. Werner, you just told the jury this is a Instagram post,
It's a private message to
private
Taylor
message.
Swift.
Private message to Taylor Swift, and you gave that message on, or sent that message on September 13, 2023. And you let Ms. Swift know that you were the teacher from Rich Neck Elementary School who had been shot,
Yes.
and that you had been to the Eras Tour in Philadelphia. And that was in May 2023, correct? That you went to the Eras Tour concert in Philadelphia?
That seems around that time. Yes.
That was